Jacksonville.
It's one chapter completed, and the next chapter is opening up. For me, when I opened up that rookie contract, that was, wow, this is it. And I completed that chapter. Now it's the next chapter.
They throw what could be a double pass. This is Boyd. Now he wants to throw it back. And the ball picked off by the Jaguars. Josh Allen, has he done enough this year yet? He picked off the double pass and ran it back inside the 10-yard line of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Extremely honored, extremely blessed and humbled to be even given a contract of this size, and I'm just totally blessed.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. We are a week out from the NFL draft. You'll probably all be delighted when it is come and gone. And you know what? We will be as well, as we'll find out who the Jags have as new building blocks to hopefully get them back where they need to be, or want to be at least, in the 2024 season and beyond. Good morning, everybody. I'm Mike Dempsey. Good morning, Tony Smith.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing well.
Yeah, week out. Are you? How would you describe your feeling towards the 2024 NFL draft?
I'm excited to get it here.
Let's go.
Yeah, just ready for it to happen.
I'm just excited to see what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Stand pat, move up, move back. Saw John Shipley did a Jaguar mock, had him moving in the top 10 to get Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
So people want to, hey, look, if they're moving, based on today's poll, people are moving for the wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
They're not
no
moving
doubt.
for the cornerback.
No doubt. And I gave John a little bit of a hard time yesterday after I saw his mock. I was like, is this that you really think they're moving into the top 10, or you just didn't want to have to think through a second-round pick? Right? Like,
yeah, I did see that.
Right, and he was like, it's more the latter, like kind of joking back with me. He's like,
Right.
it's probably more the latter. He wouldn't make the move personally, is the way he said it at least. So I'm guessing he may vote for one of those corners in today's poll, if he had to choose one.
Yeah, it depends what the price is, obviously.
Yeah.
And I went on last night on Sirius XM. We're talking about what different teams might do, and I keep coming back to Atlanta as a little bit of a mystery team, right? I've seen them mocked now in the last 24 hours. I saw them mocked with Quinion Mitchell, right? Well, who you don't usually see. You don't usually see any corner. Occasionally you see Terry and Arnold slide in the top 11 picks, but you don't generally see any corner mocked in the top 10 this year. Doesn't mean it won't happen, right? Is it more likely that you can get a developmental edge guy? And I think that was the feeling that the edge guys don't walk into the league and get 10 sacks right away that often.
No.
You get Sauce Gardner, you throw him out there, hey, lock that guy down who's across from you. Okay? Forget about learning all this and that. Just cover that guy. Can you do that? Sauce Gardner is an all-pro right out of the gates, right?
Sure.
I mean, it's easier to happen, I think, that way. So that's a consideration, and that doesn't mean you draft for this year alone, but GMs are in different circumstances. I'm not getting into Atlanta specifically. Like people have asked me, does Trent Baalke try to take somebody who helps him this year to try to save his job? I don't think Trent Baalke feels like his job is in jeopardy, quite frankly.
I don't get that sense either.
Coming off back-to-back winning seasons, I don't think Shad Khan looks at it that way either. Now, who knows what happens if it all falls apart this year. So, look, hopefully they'll make the best guy selected be good for the long and short term with this football team. But today we're asking you, if you are going to make a move, if the Jags are going to make a move, because you're in charge of the Jags, Jag fandom, right? It's you. It's your team. Well, it is in many ways. But there seem to be two different kind of moves you could make here. You can make the bold move up into the top 10 and get Neighbors or a Dunze. And I'll put Neighbors in there because, John Shipley says that the Jags have a definite interest in Malik Neighbors. I think they're interested in Rome Odunze as well. And most of the trade-up scenarios, or most of the mock draft scenarios, don't just simply have Neighbors going off the board by the 6th pick. And the price to get up to 8 or 9 is going to be a little bit cheaper. So it seems more realistic, but that's not what we're asking you today. If the Jags are going to make a move, which player would you support the move for? Is it one of those two receivers? And you have to assume if it's for one of them, you're getting to at least pick 9 and everything that entails. You're giving up your second-round pick this year, and possibly a little bit more, right? Even no matter what the chart says, I see a lot of prospective trades out there because there are a lot of quarterback deals that are going to go down that the chart's going to get kind of thrown out the window because you pay what you have to get one of those guys. Well, if you've got multiple teams angling to get into the same draft slot, that can drive the price up as well. So do you want the move to be for Neighbors or a Dunze and pick the one you prefer? Or would you prefer a smaller move? As somebody said, hey, look, Indianapolis is sitting out there with the 15th pick. We know they're in on L'Jarius Sneed, trying to trade for him from the Kansas City Chiefs. They're definitely mocked a lot taking cornerback there. Would the Jags move up to, say, 14 to try to get ahead of them with a lesser move that wouldn't cost you your second rounder? So if that's the case, Quinion Mitchell, Terry and Arnold, pick your poison, pick your preference. So
Sure.
We'll take a look at that today a little bit as well. Pockets, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good.
How's everything?
Thursday.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
Trying to go see Cat Williams tomorrow. I'm thinking about it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Is he here at the
going to
the arena?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Trying to. Man, these tickets are they're a little pricey, man.
Are they? What are they going for?
A little over $100.
What $100 to get in the door?
Yeah, like I saw like 110 for like the nosebleeds.
Is that
which I mean,
really?
it's not really that bad, the nosebleeds in the arena, but thinking about it.
What does Cat Williams make?
There's no
What do you
telling.
think for one show? If he's getting $100 in the nosebleeds,
Yeah, I don't know.
are they going to sell it out? Like, I don't know how many tickets you sell to Cat Williams. 10,000? I have no idea. What slice of those ticket prices go directly to him ultimately? Anyway, good luck with that, Pockets. We'll start a GoFundMe, perhaps,
Let's
for
do it.
Pockets. Sing Pockets to go see Cat Williams. Is that what, Friday?
Yeah, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. All right. You don't have any track obligations?
No track and hacks off, so I'm just out there.
Oh, man, look at you.
Yeah.
All right, I guess you got track today, though, huh?
Yeah, we got practice.
All right.
Some kind of practice, some kind of something.
I tried to twist Pocket's arm, see if he wanted to go chase the ball around today, but no such luck. All right, did get a 7-round mock from one of the best out there in Dane Brugler, Tone, over at The Athletic, and that's a fun one we'll take a look at. As expected, Dane hits the highlights for the Jags, but really the highlight for me was a big trade back in the first round to see what that looked like. As we talked about yesterday, would you rather do the deals that were proposed in a couple of dueling mocks, one where the Jags were moving up to 8 with the Atlanta Falcons, and another one where they were sliding back as Dallas Turner fell and the Philadelphia Eagles came up to make a move to get him. Also saw a mock today where the Eagles jumped one pick ahead of the Jags. I think it was to take Mitchell or Arnold. It was to take one of the second one of that pair of cornerbacks.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Kool-Aid McKinstry?
The foot thing was the thing that bothered me, early on in the process.
And he ran with it.
Yeah, that would be the only knock I'd have on him. Like, beyond that, I'm cool if that's where it winds up going. I did see the Eagles were one of the handful of teams. I think Cooper DeJean got to make 5 visits, right, because of the timing of everything that was going on with him. But he got to make 5 visits. I'm pretty sure the Eagles were one of the 5. So it at least is an indication that the Eagles are looking pretty hard
position.
At corner in the first round. Yeah.
Terry and Arnold met with the Jags. So, I mean, look, they met with high-end guys. They met with Kool-Aid as well. I do feel like, and this is probably unfair to him, I'm not a draft scout, and I'm, an interested observer like many in our audience out there. And I feel like if Mitchell and Arnold go bam, bam, and the Jags take Nate Wiggins or Kool-Aid McKinstry, I just feel like they're probably okay. It's probably like the next guy up, and I feel like at least I've been conditioned to feel like we're getting the tier break in value.
It hasn't been as much a part of the conversation, right? Like any of the guys outside the top 2 to the Jags. It's not that it would surprise me if that's the direction it went.
Me either. It just feels like it'd be a settling a little bit.
Right. It's more, are they going to be in position to maybe get the number 1 corner, in this draft, picking there at 17 with the way things could fall. And if it wound up they were getting the 3rd, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the direction they went if they were on the clock. And when they do it, they're going to stand up there at the table afterwards and tell you this was our guy.
We love this guy all along.
Right.
We thought we could get him here, and
that's
fine.
That will inform you however much it informs you about the process.
And that may be true or not.
Yeah,
right? This is our guy.
There's no reason not to say
Once Quinion Mitchell
it.
was drafted, this became our guy very, very quickly. So today, if you want to get in and be a part of the program, discuss any aspect of Jaguar football, will Trevor Lawrence get a contract extension? Should he get one this offseason? Tyson Campbell, what have you? 641-1010 on the All Pro Roofing phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
That's what we're back to today after a one-day respite from that. Here's Carline from the
Skittles are
Frangie
$5.
Show.
I don't know if you've heard at the
Well,
Wawa.
they're very expensive, right?
Oh, God, nothing else, man.
All right, by the way, best flavor of Skittles. I don't even know what they call it. It's the one in the purple bag.
The tropical
Is
one?
it tropical?
Something
Is that
like
what
that.
it is?
I think that's
so.
what it is.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it's is it tropical?
I think so.
I think you're probably. I feel like there might be another one that's like that, but the purple bag's the way to go with the Skittles.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the
Wild
original
berry.
ones, that's it. Wild berry. Tropical is something completely different pockets. I don't eat those tropical fruit lifesavers either. So wild berry. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
You think I
Tropical's the baby blue.
haven't eaten a bag of wild berry Skittles in quite a while, thanks to Awaken 180, and my good friends there have warned me off of the massive bag. I'd get the share size bag, Tony. Problem was I wouldn't share.
Oh.
I just full fist in that thing. All right, so you know the ways to get on board today if you want to be a part of it. We are running out of time before the NFL draft. Hayes Carline coming along in about 28 minutes from now to discuss all things Jaguars. Trade up. Who would your target be? Who are you most comfortable? Or let us know if it's somebody who's not on that list of 4 that we gave you that is enticing to you. See a lot of Byron Murphy going in the first round in the last 24 to 36 hours. So, we're going to see that, and people are going to go, how come nobody knew this? Because teams aren't actually telling you what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Right? You see Belichick on the Pat McAfee show?
Yeah, 12 hours.
Right, and he's basically said it's all agent-driven until you get to the last few days. And then every once in a while, when teams' boards are fully set, sometimes you do get a leak, and he said they've used them in his past to good effect. Sometimes you actually do get good intel, but you can't start paying attention until the last handful of hours, whatever. Who's it, Tyson Jackson, the one we always use as the example from LSU, going back a number of years, right? The defensive lineman who was projected like in the 20s, and then all of a sudden, like in the 24 hours before the draft started getting projected number 3 overall. It's like, what? And that's where he went.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, you
like
get,
once
you
he
get
said
a piece
it was
of
like,
intel.
yeah, that's kind of how the draft works. There's all this conjecture all that time leading up to it.
Agents are saying, my guy's being looked at in the first 15 picks.
And then the day of, you start hearing information, and it's like, that feels real.
And he did kind of admit that
Right.
some of that, that it does cause some teams to react to it. Like if you keep seeing reports that this guy's not getting past pick 20, right? Well, if you're picking at pick 25, might prompt you to make a move up into the teens and get that guy. And all of a sudden, that guy's getting picked higher. He's making more money.
For
Guess
sure.
who else is making more money? The agent is making more money.
No doubt there.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah,
All right.
Darius Hayward-Bay was that kind of guy.
He went 7th,
Yeah.
right? I want to say overall to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was really unclear whether or not he'd even be a first-round pick. I
And
felt
then,
like.
the Raiders love him. Fell in love with the sprinter speed.
It's like, there it is.
That's all it took. And it was right? Sometimes it goes that way. Sometimes it's not, but it's curious every once in a while when you see a drastic shift and everybody starts to jump on board with it. Usually some intel has gotten out the last year. It used to be really fun trying to decipher for our draft parties.
Oh, my gosh.
What was real,
Yeah.
what was fake, right? Rick Gosselin of the Dallas Morning News was like the gold standard. That was, if you're going to look at one mock draft back in the day, Gosselin did 3. He did but the last one he did was the one where he's actually predicting what was going to happen. He usually do it on the morning of the first round, and it was fantastic. And he doesn't do them anymore. So anyway, there you have it. All right, 641-1010. Be a part of the program. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. You know what? Breakfast may have come and gone for you today, but think about it tomorrow morning as you're getting up early, You don't have to worry about preparing something at the house. Maybe you're running behind. Swing into a gate station. Maybe get that cup of coffee, but definitely head to the Fresh Case and look for all those dandy breakfast goodies. If you want to start your day off right with buttermilk biscuits or soft flaky croissants, French toast, maybe some light tasty maple waffles, sizzling country sausage, Black Forest ham, thick sliced bacon, peppered fried eggs, creamy Wisconsin cheddar cheese, all these and more, and all the many combinations that they can put together to give you the best line of on-the-go breakfast items that you know are going to be made with the highest quality ingredients, give you great variety, going to be fresh, going to be delicious. The prices put a smile on your face. Start your day off right with Dandy. They're a local company, and breakfast, that's good 24 hours a day. Trust me, we all know that. If you're hungry in Duval, Dandy is definitely the name to know. So do what I do when you are. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios. You talk a good game.
It lives up to the hype, plus.
And so do we. 1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
It's about time for a technology support company to speak the language of your business and have local people who actually answer the phone when you need answers now. It's time to call Total Business Systems. Whether your company needs managed IT services, video surveillance, or voice and data wiring, discover why Total Business Systems is on the Jacksonville Business Journal's Fast 50. Call 604-6900, 604-6900, or jacksitexperts.com.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is teaming up with the NFL to inspire change. From now to draft day, Big Brothers Big Sisters is following the NFL draft, aiming to recruit potential bigs. Hi, I'm Brent from the 1010 sales team. I'm committed as a mentor, and we need you to step up and become a mentor too. There's a waiting list of more than 50 children hoping for a mentor. It's just a few hours a month. Be a mentor. Become a big. Visit bbsnefl.org. Be a mentor or visit Big Brothers Big Sisters and click on Big Draft.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting!
If you're ready to upgrade your home's backyard living appeal and just need some design inspiration, let the experts at Art of Natural Stone make your outdoor living perfect. Known for summer kitchens, gazebos, pavers, patios, and pool decks using all natural stone. All the custom elements you need for a first-class professional design, and they do installation. Open to the public on Phillips Highway and on Beach Boulevard. Find ideas online at artofnaturalstone.com.
Who are the top prospects?
These kids can play ball, and you know what?
1010XL's draft previews are brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeast Florida.
That's the foundation of this team.
Listen for draft previews.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
The 2024 draft is almost here.
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
Join us at Everbank Stadium Thursday, April 25th for the official Duval Draft Party presented by Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Be there as the Jaguars make the 17th overall pick, and don't miss the unveiling of the official 30th season logo that you voted on. We're getting the party started at 7 p.m. Tickets are free, so register today at jaguars.com/draft party. We can't wait to see you there.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Dave Binion here with my son Ammon, who is the air duct cleaning manager at Zero Res. So Ammon, you may notice a little rattle in my voice and some puffiness in my eyes. That's because allergy season is coming on. Can Zero Res help?
Yes, your health has a lot to do with the air you breathe. A clean and healthy home begins with clean air. At Zero Res, we can help clean the air in your home by cleaning your air ducts, cleaning the coils in your HVAC units, and fogging the system with a powerful antimicrobial that helps kill and control the growth of microorganisms in your air. We also have options for maintaining your clean air with our excellent inline air purifier and UV lights that will help keep your system clean and healthy. At Zero Res, we are more than just air duct cleaners. We're a clean air specialist.
Have Zero Res air duct specialists out, and right now we'll give you $50 off your air duct cleaning, and while we're at it, we'll give you $50 off your dryer vent cleaning. Zero Res.
Spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
ZEROREC. Zero Res.
AC's broke, it ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com. Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Can we all agree, Tony, if the Jaguars do make that bold move into the top 10, and they eschew going with Brian Thomas Jr. and they go with his LSU teammate Malik Neighbors in the top 10, we'd all want to stick a mic in his hand and let him ask personal questions in the locker room for a segment on Jaguars Today entitled Nosy Neighbors.
I'd be for it.
I'd be all about that.
Yeah.
By the way, he and Roma Dunze are like back and forth, neck and neck right now. Poor Terry and Arnold. Nobody wants you. At least not in a trade-up. 43.3% for Neighbors, 43.0% for Odunze, and that just flipped as of a second ago. So, like every batch of 10 votes that comes in, it's going back and forth on who your preferred trade-up wide receiver target is, and clear that the people responding to the poll this morning prefer the bold move up into the top 10 as opposed to the small move. Like perhaps you give up one of those 2 fourth-round picks to assure you get Quinion Mitchell as opposed to giving up a second plus to go get Neighbors or Odunze, for instance. Terry and Arnold getting only 4.7% of the vote, 9.1% going to Mitchell, and now we're tied, Neighbors and Odunze at 43.1. So good stuff. Enjoy that. 6 days from now, we'll be on the eve. 7 days from now will be the first round.
Day of, yeah.
The NFL draft. And then what do we got? Second and third on Friday night and all the rest on Saturday, and then we'll cry about it the following Monday, which is generally the way we go about things. Let's go to Byron in Gainesville. Our man might need a fresh Duval this morning. Byron, what's up?
Oh, I got one for y'all guys.
Duval! Byron, I got to sometimes remember how good it feels to say that, and you, I think, bring the Duval as well as anybody in these parts.
Man, I tell you, the Trevor years, the last one was a little rough, but, man, I'm excited and guys ready to go. Hey, really looking forward to the draft. You know, I like to say this about, I don't really know what player we're going to get, but just watching these college guys, even baseball now, these are most prepared seniors and juniors coming out to play. So, you know, we should get somebody that, you know, capable of playing because these guys are really, most of these college guys can play. Hey, guys, I got a quick question, you know. Another sport that I like, I'm not going to name, But I just couldn't believe the news coming out. And, gambling is so prevalent in sports and the money these guys got. So I just hate to see the integrity. All the years we played and the guys who played in there, we played for the winning and for the sport. So just my question, guys, do you see the NFL having a problem like that? And what are they doing to maybe combat some of the maybe gambling sneaking into the locker room? Thank you very much, guys. Go Jags!
Go Jags. Thank you, Byron. Good question. I think, Tony, it is got to be a major concern of the National Football League. I think it's more manipulatable in the NBA because everyone's got those props on them, and you can get in there. And it's tough. Like, how many rushing yards are you going to have? Well, you're out there, taking your life in your hand. You can miss a layup, and you're not going to get injured because you missed a layup.
More the story in that Jonte Porter story is that it was some kind of prop bet.
Manipulating the prop bets, right? Taking the unders on the prop bets and then leaving the game early.
Like, we joke around with it every year when we're talking about prop bets for the Super Bowl, right? It's like, well, if you're singing the anthem, just tell your friends how long you're going to be singing.
Did you see that? Apparently this happened with the Gatorade. Apparently the Gatorade color got out this year and was an issue. And I guess some of the sports books, maybe they took it off the board or whatever.
Maybe,
I don't pay attention to the props all that much. I don't bet on
Right. Like, we're not talking about those kind of bets very often. We talk about it at the Super Bowl, for those kind of things. But it does, like, a lot of that feels like you can control that. There's one person in control of how long the anthem's going to be sung. It's the person singing the anthem.
Right. Speed it up, slow it down.
They can do whatever they want to with that and let their friends know, bet heavy, that whatever.
Or there's a recorded version, which they usually use as the backing track in case something happens on game day, right?
But the NFL, it's a little bit more difficult to predict, how many rush yards and carries and those kind of things you're going to have.
Let's say it's a 30-yard prop, right? Over-under is 30.5 yards, right? And you're at 29 yards. First of all, you can't control whether they give you 3 more carries or no more carries or whatever. But if they give you the carry and you're like trying to hit the under, what are you going to tiptoe up to the line? In basketball, it's more easy. Now, I'm not sitting here saying the players can't figure out ways around this, and it may already be manipulated. But it is an issue that I guarantee you has them paying a lot of attention to, and this has to be the way you deal with it. There is zero tolerance. If you bet to manipulate a game, and that, don't make any mistake, that's manipulating a game, even if it's just a point spread. People say, how bad is it if it's just a point spread? As long as you're still winning. Well, once you open the door to that,
right,
it's a slippery slope. Well, what if the point spread's 3? You can't really control something to that degree, whether you're winning that close a game. Yeah, I think the NFL, look, Calvin Ridley apparently didn't bet on the NFL, right? Like, if you're betting on the NFL, it's going to be an issue in any form, prop bets or anything else. But yeah, the NBA, I think, this is how dumb it was. He had a buddy, the guy put $80,000 on one of his props.
Yeah.
On like the under on whatever rebound, whatever it was, $80,000. Like, who's betting $80,000 on a single prop bet on a random backup NBA player, like low-level NBA player? Nobody is. So don't be. If they had bet $1,000 on it, probably nobody, but they're greedy and they think, well, we can't do this 80 times because they're going to catch on, so we'll try to sneak this one through. Well, what happened was you ended the guy's career.
Yeah. I mean, at least the Calvin Ridley thing, he wasn't playing.
Right.
Like, he may have had whatever level of information he had about whatever was happening.
But we had like Jameson Williams in the building, right, betting, and not betting on the NFL.
These things happen. And
it's going to happen.
Like, within these leagues, look, these guys, the Shohei thing's been going on. Who knows how that whole thing's going to play out ultimately, right? Like, these things are happening. These guys have a lot of money and a lot of opportunity to, look, why not have some fun trying to make this $1 $1.50? Like, why wouldn't they try to do that? Like, everyone tries to do that. They just happen to have a lot of $1.
It's not going to be Jalen Hurts with a $51 million a year average annual salary.
You would not think so.
You wouldn't think, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a guy like that, a guy who's making, hey, you know what? If I could stretch out a few years in the league, make a little money, but I could supplement that right now. I'm never going to have the opportunity to do this in one fell swoop. So, Byron, good call. It is something the NFL, I'm sure, is very aware of. And what they do to try to combat it is they give seminars to the incoming rookies. They talk about this every year.
Yeah.
Every year, in every locker room, this is talked about, And I think for a lot of them, it goes in one ear and out the other. Not all of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them would never even think about, jeopardizing their careers.
It is crazier now because of, you turn on an NFL game, you're going to see a gambling ad.
All over the place.
Like they're partners with the league now.
You watch any game, Tony, and it's like you watch a baseball game, and it's like the new in-game odds have now shifted to this. It's plus 700 for this now in the remaining 3 innings.
Like they've always had the conversation with players that were going into any of these leagues about you do not gamble, you do not gamble, you do not gamble. But at the same time, you haven't ever had leagues that were partners with the gamblers. Right? Like, that's never been the way that the sport has worked, and how much that might confuse, especially young players coming into the league, about what that is a gray area in their mind. Am I allowed to participate in this? They're spending money, to see me on TV. Like those kinds of things. Like, it does make that situation more gray than it's ever been, even if it, in reality, is very black and white. You don't get to do this.
Right. That's the thing. Right. And I'll say this. I think there's enough info out there that it's very clear that they're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
That anybody gets caught doing it is either ignorant or willfully ignorant. There's
you don't
no
get
excuse.
to claim that
You
ignorance.
can't just go, there was enough information they didn't tell me about it. At least that doesn't pass my muster. Thank you, Byron. Let's go to Steve in Melbourne. Next up here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing this morning?
Good. What's up, bud?
I know you guys were talking about trade scenarios and things like that. If I had an option, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on maybe the scenario itself, if Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors, since like Mike said, they're kind of going back and forth, who's better than the other, I would probably aim for Chicago at 9 if one of them's still there. I mean, they only have 4 picks this year. I mean, you throw the first-round switch at them. Probably a second round and maybe maybe a fourth round since we have 2, something like that. I mean, I could probably consider something like that just because the lack of picks and they still want to add talent to their team. I just wanted to get your thoughts on a scenario like that if one of the guys are there.
Thanks, Steve. I think it's one of the most common scenarios that has been discussed, right, for that very reason. Chicago doesn't have a lot of picks. Plus, they have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, and I know Keenan Allen's not like a long-term fixture there. Yes, you could use a new guy, a building block to pair with Caleb Williams and grow with him, Tony, but they don't have a ton of picks. It is a receiver-rich draft, and I could see absolutely a scenario where that would be attractive to Chicago. But at the same time, I think you got to look at Atlanta, 1 pick ahead of them as well, because Chicago you may get there and Chicago goes, no, we want them for ourselves, right? If Atlanta's willing to move, and it seems like they're a team that is willing to move based on the reporting, the speculation. They like maybe the UCLA pass rusher, Latu, whomever, that they feel they can get 8 to 10 picks later. But yeah, I mean, and look, quite frankly, 1, 2, and a 4 is an overpay based on the charts out there. But I think most Jaguar fans who are willing to make the deal would probably pay that.
Yeah, I think so too. I think 7, 8, 9 are all interesting. Right, because I do think you can look at the Bears and say it's the team that doesn't have a second-round pick. They might be more interested in making that kind of deal because they don't have those extra picks. Like, that kind of thing does make it more interesting maybe from the Bears' side of making that kind of deal. But I don't think the Titans are locked in at 7.
But it's not happening with us. We're not getting up to 7.
I wouldn't expect them to. But I think I wouldn't be surprised talking about the availability of these wide receivers when 2 of them are off the board.
Jets jump up to 7.
Right. Make that small move. The Titans are moving down to 10.
And
they're not having to give
great
up.
Linemen.
Right. They're not having to give up the opportunity to get that offensive lineman.
Totally.
And that takes that situation out of the Jaguars' hands to a large degree. And I think the Falcons are open for whatever business anyone wants to bring to them.
I agree.
At this point in time. But I would agree the Bears make a lot of sense for a lot of reasons as being a team that might be interested in making that kind of deal with Jacksonville.
If those guys make it.
One of them have to be there.
Right. James in Rhode Island before we hit the break. James, good morning.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. What's up?
I had a quick question. As far as the top 3 receivers, when's the last time 3 receivers actually went in the top 10 pick? I feel like someone always dropped. So do you think there's a possibility of one of the guys actually dropping?
Okay. I don't.
I'd be stunned.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, I could see. I could see Atlanta going pass rush. I could see Chicago going pass rush. I could see the Jets going Brock Bowers. right? I think there's a scenario, but it's not going to get far beyond that. These mocks where I see a doomsday to the Jaguars at 17.
I feel like if it played out exactly like you just mentioned, there would be a gold rush to get to wherever the next spot is.
There might be, right. But that's Minnesota, right? At 11. They want a quarterback. Knows? Maybe they're not moving, right? Denver, maybe they're not
already
moving.
In the top 4.
Right? There's a scenario where it could play out where maybe one of them does slip out. I'll go back and look, but wide receivers have become more of an elite position in the draft, and I'll go back and look and see when the last time. But also, James, and I'm sure as you're following the coverage, people are talking about this trio as a truly elite trio at the top. I've heard, Tony, people say that Brian Thomas would be as good as any receiver in last year's draft.
Yeah.
And all three of these guys are felt to be clearly better than Brian Thomas. So this is maybe a special, kind of like an A.J. Green, Julio Jones tier when they came out together that people are talking about with this group. But will it play out that way? Time will tell. We got Hayes Carline, the Hammer, joins us next on the other side to discuss all things Jaguars, including trade-up scenarios and maybe some trade downs as well. This is Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. From the JOI studios at 1010XL.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute.
Where the pros go. You know Dan Hicken.
I'm living the dream.
And you know Jeff Prosser.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
They are The Drill.
Team Sensations.
Mornings on 1010XL.
This is Hayes Carline for Skylife Elite. Have you ever thought about aircraft ownership as another potential revenue stream and as a tool for tax savings? Put your tax money to work for you while enjoying the benefits of private personal travel. Skylife Elite has over a decade of experience in business aviation and can guide you through the process with their expert staff. Call my friends over at Skylife Elite at 490-9332 or find them at flyskylife.com to get the rundown on everything owning an airplane can do for you.
Ready for a heating and air company that's just as local as your favorite coffee shop? That's Bold City Heating and Air. Jacksonville grown, family owned and operated, and not bought out by the out-of-town big guys. And with transparent pricing, you'll know the costs up front, with options to choose from, backed by Bold City's satisfaction guarantee. And rest assured, Bold City Techs will treat your home with white glove service. You can be comfortable today. Visit boldcityac.com.
If you're a business owner and want to learn about federal, state, or local government contracts, plan to attend a free online webinar April 23rd. The Florida Apex Accelerator, in partnership with UNF, provides expert guidance and consultations at no cost. The Apex Accelerator program can make selling to the government less complicated. To attend the free coffee and contracting webinar April 23rd, register at unf.edu/SBDC. Then select Training and Event tab.
Discover luxury on your terms at Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville and drive away today in style.
Boasting North Florida's largest selection of Cadillacs, we have your dream car waiting.
Immerse yourself in the unparalleled power and the elegance of the all-new Cadillac Escalade V.
Or experience the future with the Cadillac Lyriq, redefining luxury electric vehicles.
Thanks to our exclusive offers, the luxury of the Cadillac is more attainable than ever.
And rest assured, every Cadillac is backed by our dedication to outstanding customer service.
Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville. Tell them Jennifer sent you.
He's a professor of quarterback play, and class is in session.
We want to take you into the lab so you can learn more about the science of quarterback.
Denny Thompson, Friday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet on 1010XL.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, obviously the warmer temperatures are already here. And if you're like me, you want that oppressive Florida heat to stay outside your house. That's why I'm such a fan of Pella Windows and Doors. By now we know that windows are the #1 way that heat gets in and the cold gets out. So when you're ready for the stylish design and energy efficiency that comes from Pella Windows and Doors, visit their showroom on Phillips Highway, just north of Bay Meadows, or you can always find them online at PellaJacks.com. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
If you're looking for custom metalwork, look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Whether it's custom railing, shade structures, or custom entry gates, their expert team controls the turnkey process. From CAD design and raw metal to powder-coated finish and expert installation. When you choose Superior Fence and Rail for your custom metal project, you get a project that's well, superior. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail today.
Why live with foot or ankle pain? If you have persistent pain, numbness, tingling, burning pain on the bottom of your foot, or swelling that doesn't improve with home treatment, it may be time to see Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Our foot and ankle specialists have innovative new options to help you get back in the swing of things without persistent pain that slows you down. Call JOI 2000 or go to joionline.net for an appointment.
Attention veterans, if you have a VA loan, you need to listen to this, especially if your current rate is higher than 6.5%. Now is the time to take advantage of the federal government's VA Streamlined Refinance Program. With my friends at Loan Pronto, you can. Go to loanpronto.com. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto has fixed rate APRs in the 5s. You can drop your rate now. Lower your payment with no income documentation and no appraisal. Do it at loanpronto.com. Their all-digital platform makes it easy. They can even cover your closing costs. If you need cash now, Loan Pronto can get you up to 100% of your home value. You can pay off all your credit cards or other debt and save as much as $1,000 a month. Call Loan Pronto now at 904-999-1508 or get a 30-second rate quote at loanpronto.com. Ask about streamlined VA loans, no income doc, and no appraisal. Loan Pronto, 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
This is Joe C. from XL Primetime and stoked to crank up the 9 after 5 once again at the Golf Club of Southampton. Every Wednesday, a little after 5, the gang at Southampton will be hosting us with a new game, and I'm inviting you to be a part of it. Now, through the summer stretch, break up the week with a little hump day fun every Wednesday. Call 287-PLAY to get on the tee sheet. There'll be food afterwards and prizes, including playing for a membership at the Golf Club of Southampton. Call 287-PLAY and hit the tee with Joe C.
Sports fans, JJ LaSalva here. When I need to send my bride flowers or a plant for birthdays or anniversaries, I always go with Kuhn Flowers. After all, they've been the leading florist in these parts for over 75 years. You can always rely on Kuhn Flowers.
Looking for a new or used firearm? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach will get you locked and loaded. New firearms coming in weekly and always looking for used guns. No lines and no waiting. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
You can't touch this.
Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Hammer time. 1 week out. There are nails everywhere, Tony, that need tamping down, and the hammer, Hayes Carline, has joined us this morning from the Frangie Show, Jaguars embedded reporter, getting ready to spend some quality time with Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke at the Jaguars pre-draft luncheon today, where they will endeavor to not tell you anything. Hayes, good morning, sir. How are you? Oh, let me punch up Hayes. Let me try that again, Hayes. Hayes, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you all?
All right. Fantastic. Hayes, what, if anything, can you hope to learn from Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke today?
It'll be interesting to see. I'm not willing to say we won't learn anything. I think part of it is just how defensively the personnel that they have and how does that match what Ryan Nielsen wants to do, particularly when you talk about the coverage component of things. Obviously, with Trayvon and certainly Josh Allen, you feel good about the rush component. But Ryan Nielsen's talked about it. Trent Baalke's talked about it during this draft process of, needing stickier coverage. So, obviously they've added Ronald Darby. For me, that doesn't do much to sway the need there. So I think a lot of the questions are going to be directed towards looking at that corner spot. Do they feel like they have enough to stop what's now become a pretty good division when you look at the quarterbacks and receivers?
What did you learn from what Trevor Lawrence had to say on Tuesday?
I thought it was really interesting how long it took him to be fully healthy. The season ended January, first week of January, and he's saying he wasn't fully healthy until March. I mean, for a 24-year-old to, need 7 weeks beyond the season to really get back to where he's not having to modify any of his workouts, it speaks to, I think, how poor his health was, late in the year. So I thought that was really interesting. Trevor is when it comes to the football stuff, the motivation stuff. I thought all that was interesting, and you would expect Trevor to say the right things when it comes to all that and be genuine about it. So, but for me, it was the health thing. I mean, I think he was hanging on by a thread for the last few weeks, and I think he learned a good lesson, which is I've got to practice. I'm not good enough to just not practice all week, show up on Sunday, and play well. Maybe when he gets to be 32, 33, and he's seen more, he's played in way more games, and he'll be able to get to that point in his career, but he's certainly not there yet. And so I think that was a good realization in terms of avoiding the unnecessary contact, in terms of looking at his injuries. So, I think that's the big growing up process for Trevor is he's got to be better instinctually. Decision making is subpar at times, and I think some of that's led to contact he didn't have to take on.
Hayes Carline here with us. Hayes, staying on the Trevor front for a moment. I don't think there's any doubt. There's certainly no doubt in my mind that eventually they'll get him signed to a long-term deal. The Jags have expressed that interest. Trevor has said he wants to stay here and wants that to happen, and so let's presume that that's on track to get done at some point, right? So he's 24 years old, face of the franchise. You want to invest in him for the long term. How much say, in your opinion, should he have in this draft process? Like in terms of, hey, what type of receiver do you think you'd like to throw to? What do you think we need here offensively? And how much do you think they are actually giving him? Is it just, like a courtesy, include you in a couple of conversations, or is that even stretching it?
I think that's even stretching it. Trevor doesn't watch a lot of football, so I'd be surprised if he's able to give them a knowledgeable opinion on any of the receivers. Now, he could, in a general sense, say, hey, I think we need a guy with a big catch radius, something to that effect. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he's going to be able to tell them much about. My guess is if you ask Trevor Lawrence, name 5 receivers that are going to go in the first 2 rounds of this draft, he'd have trouble telling you that. I just don't think it's something that he focuses on a lot.
Why does the door got opened again on Tuesday by Trevor? Why does who the play caller is matter for the Jags going into 2024, or does it?
I think it matters. It should be Doug Peterson. He's gifted at it. I still don't understand why he decided to delegate it. I mean, I understand. I get his reasoning. He's told us, he wanted to have more of a macro perspective during games. But, I mean, to me, play calling means so much in a game and having a feel for it. And Doug Peterson has a great feel for it. He's very talented at that. And if you're gifted in something, I don't like losing that advantage. And I don't feel like Press Taylor is as good. I'm not saying Press Taylor's, this isn't a rip Press Taylor, but he's not Doug Peterson. At least there's been no real evidence of that to suggest, and he certainly doesn't have Peterson's track record. So I think it's for the betterment of the club for Doug Peterson to be the play caller. I can understand and appreciate the fact he wants to pay it forward and give Press Taylor an opportunity, but I also think they're not as good when it's Press Taylor calling the play. So that's a part of that's a pie piece of the pie. It's not the whole pie, but yes, I think the Jaguars would be better this season if Doug Peterson was the play caller.
Hayes, the 17th pick is not the whole pie when it comes to the draft, but it's the first piece. It's the piece we can all focus in on most easily. So a week out, what do you think? Where do you think they stand? Are they most likely to stand pat, make a move up, make a move back? Who do you think are like the 2 or 3 guys that they are hoping realistically are staring at them available at 17?
I think it's one of the most fascinating Jaguar drafts that we've seen because I can't recall them being smack dab in the middle of it. They're usually towards the top. A couple years they've been towards the back of the first round, coming off great seasons. But at 17, you really could see them going as high as 6. They certainly have the ammunition to do that if they can find a partner, and I would assume that would be for Harrison or Neighbors or Odunze. So, I mean, you could see them going as high as 6. But I think you could also see them trading completely out of the first round. So I don't know that we've ever seen a radius that expands as much as this one does. I think it starts with, if they stay at 17, is Terrion Arnold or Quinyon Mitchell there? If one of those two are there, I think you just make the pick and solidify your corner spot opposite Tyson Campbell, and you've had a great day. If Arnold and Mitchell are gone, then do you start fielding calls? And I think they'll certainly try. And I think there's some decent candidates in terms of teams that would want to come up. Even beyond, we saw Dane Brugler of The Athletic did a mock draft. He had the Jaguars moving down 11 spots to 28 with Buffalo. There's some other targets as well. I mean, I think Pittsburgh might have an interest in that pick. Do you move down just 3 spots, pick up probably 2 fourth-round picks this year? That would give you 7 picks in the first 121. Do the Cardinals want that pick? Would they be willing to move up 10 spots from 27? That would probably net you a high third. And another option that I don't think can be discounted is Washington. Now, this would be trading completely out of the first round, which is rare to see a team go from 17 to not making a pick in the first round. Now, they could trade back in, but that's something I think.
Washington to what? To take Harrison at 2 and then trade back in for a quarterback?
Nah, I think they go quarterback and then give the new quarterback a weapon.
Try to get Brian Thomas, somebody like that.
Something like that.
All
but
right.
if you're the Jaguars, and I'll ask you guys this: do you trade from 17 to 36 with Washington, but pick up their 40th selection too? Washington has 36 and 40, which would get the deal done. So, in that instance, you don't have a pick on Thursday in the first round, but you have picks 36, 40, and 48 at your disposal in the second round to address, obviously, you would think, corner, receiver, and then probably best available. Maybe it's an edge, maybe it's an offensive lineman.
I don't mind that. It's intriguing. And again, like you said, with Mitchell and Arnold off the board, Tony and I were talking about, I don't know if we were even talking about it on the air or off the air, Tone. Like, I feel like if those 2 corners are gone, Hayes, and I know in the Brugler mock, they traded back and took Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Tony and I are going to look at that mock next hour, but I feel like if they sit pat and take a corner at 17 who's not Arnold or Mitchell, that they're, like, settling. You know what I mean? Like, the tier break is there, and I just that's what I want to avoid if I can help it.
I agree. I think if Arnold and Mitchell aren't there, then you really hope that you can find a partner. And that was difficult for them at times in last year's draft, but they were able to get it done on the first day. So, again, that's always interesting. It's usually the same kind of answer when you ask a general manager about, phone calls and stuff like that. They usually say, nothing really yet, but as you get a couple days out, you start, kind of reaching out to gauge, whether a team is willing to move up or down and things like that. So, because obviously it's really hard to get that deal done cold on the clock if it falls that way. So I would imagine, Trent Baalke is going to be very busy in that 72 hours leading up to the draft when he starts putting feelers out, particularly if the Jaguars are interested in making the blockbuster move up the board. Now, if they're not going to do that, then it makes it a little bit easier. There's only 3 or 4 teams that he probably has to have some contact with about moving back in the draft. But, I think it's a small chance, but boy, it would be something if they went from 17 up to 9 or up to 6 to go get one of these 3 great receivers.
Let's assume for the moment, though, that they're not able to get that kind of deal done, Hayes, and that at 17 they go a different direction, whether that be corner or one of the front 7 guys, inside defensive lineman, anything like that, offensive line. They have options. They're at 17, but say they don't draft a wide receiver in the first round. Is there a player or 2 that you really like the fit for the Jags potentially on day 2 of the draft at wide receiver?
I think there's a litany of guys at receiver. I mean, honestly, I think they could wait till the comp third and still be looking at a really good player. I mean, you think about it, you can make a case that these players are not in the top 10 of most rankings, in looking at like guys like Malachi Corley, Troy Franklin, Leggett, Tez Walker. There is a lot of talent even beyond the guys that are probably going to go in the second round. So, if they can be patient at receiver, I think they'll be rewarded. But it sometimes it's hard if there's a player there that you love. But I think it would make the most sense for them to go receiver at 48. To me, that puts them in the conversation of Keon Coleman, Pearsall, Roman Wilson. That kind of. I think those guys will all pretty much be there. So, I think at 48, that's kind of a good sweet spot for a receiver. But if they decide to wait until that late third rounder, I think there'll be some great talent there as well.
It's interesting because, we're looking at maybe the Jags can wait till 96. Meanwhile, maybe the Bills feel the need to trade up to 17 to get a receiver. You know what I mean? We both need the same position. Maybe they need it a little bit more desperately with the loss of Diggs. Let me just ask you a non-draft question. Right, the deadline coming up for the fifth-year option. Obviously, it'll be placed on Trevor Lawrence. No doubt it'll be placed on Travis Etienne, right, as well. They'll exercise his fifth-year option and pick him up for about $6.1 million next year, in your opinion?
I would. I think that's good business to go ahead and pick it up. And, I don't know that he'll get a second contract here, but I would pick up the fifth-year option. And then I think the long-term plan would probably be he plays on the fifth-year option and then is probably allowed to hit the market.
I agree with you. Yep, and run the wheels off of him. That's just, unfortunately, for running backs, that's kind of the situation they find themselves in right now. But the free agent market did rebound for running backs this year, so you got to wonder what it would cost the Jags to find a suitable replacement. I think $6 million for what Etienne gives them is very manageable for next year's cap figure. All right, Hayes, Carline, anything in particular? Just reacting, I guess, to what Balky and Peterson have to say today, right? On the Friday's show?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure our digital team will do a great job as well, putting stuff out there from it. So yeah, I mean, we'll obviously break it all down starting at 4:00 as well all the other shows. So should be a really fun day. This is always kind of a lighthearted day, and I know we go in with a low expectation of really learning anything, but it seems like every year we come out with at least 3 or 4 pretty good nuggets that. We like to, kind of break down and discuss. So I'm excited about it.
All right, Hayes, we're excited as well. Thanks for coming on. We'll probably call on you sometime next week for some final thoughts before they actually start exercising these picks. But as always, appreciate your time.
Sure thing. Thanks so much for having me. Take care.
All right, brother. And there you go. You find Hayes on social media at Hayes Carline, Carlyon. We do want to get into that Dane Brugler 7-round mock. He had a big trade with the Jags dropping down from 17 to 28. What do they do with the extra draft capital? Just what draft capital did they pick up from Buffalo in that proposed scenario? And what do they do with their picks? Brugler, is going to hit generally pretty well on what the team needs are. So we'll get into that coming up next hour. If you want to get in and be a part of it, 641-1010 on the All Pro Roofing phone lines. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the JOI studios at 1010XL.
Now hear this.
Here's 1010XL's new lineup.
We're sending you back to the future. Buckle up.
Dan and Jeff in the morning. Mike and Tony 10 to noon. Mia, Lauren and Taylor noon to 2. Joe, Matt and Leon 2 to 4. Frank and Hayes 4 to 6. And Rick and Hacker in the evening.
We invite you now to listen.
Have you been dreaming of enhancing your living space with top-quality custom windows and doors? Well, now's the 30-day spring sale with Renewal by Andersen. Save $300 on every window, $825 on all patio doors. Plus, no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires April 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, a better way to a better window. Visit rbafla.com.
License number CGC 1527613.
Tired of running out of hot water? It's probably time for a new water heater. Call Duck Duck Rooter, the plumbing pros who specialize in water heater installation and service, including tankless water heaters, gas or electric. Call us today for service. DuckDuckRooter.com.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Bank in the 2023 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards, and it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Who's the only person to walk in space and also visit the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean?
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to get an instant quote or find an agent near you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
NASA astronaut Catherine Sullivan is the only person so far who has spacewalked and has traveled to the Mariana Trench.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Let's go! Looking for a night of action without a big hit to your bankroll? This Saturday, April 20th at 7 o'clock in the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, cheer on your Sharks as they go all in against the Las Vegas Nighthawks. See what I did there? With tickets as low as $15, you can't find this kind of family, affordable fun anywhere else. Call 904-621-0700 or visit jacksharks.com. Let's go! Decades Night. Find that old members-only jacket or favorite flannel shirt. We're celebrating the 90s. What's your favorite decade?
Let's go!
Don't miss the fun this Saturday, April 20th at 7 o'clock in the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. For tickets, call 904-621-0700 or visit jacksharks.com. That's tickets at 904-621-0700.
Let's go! Let's go!
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Establishing a regular sleeping pattern is crucial for your well-being. This includes going to bed at roughly the same time every night and waking up around the same time every morning. You may even consider turning off all electronic devices an hour before bedtime. Ever wonder why you can't fall asleep after staring at your phone right before bed? Studies show that the light from your phone actually decreases melatonin production, therefore causing disruptions to your sleep throughout the night. Get some rest before the big game. Go Jags.
If you owe the IRS and can't pay, now is the time to call J. David Tax Law. After a 2-year hiatus, the IRS has resumed their aggressive collections letters. Don't wait. Call J. David Tax Law or visit jdavidtaxlaw.com.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Brought to you by J. David Tax Law. One of the key additions to the Jags offense this offseason was wide receiver Gabe Davis, who in 2023 recorded 746 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence recently gave his thoughts on what to expect from Davis in Duval.
Gabe seems just like a super hard worker from what I've heard about him. He's a guy that likes to work, wants to work, really competitive, goes about his business the right way. Obviously, we haven't got a chance really to work together much yet, but that's starting now, so it'll be great to see him move around, and I know he's getting back healthy.
The Jacksonville Icemen set out on their quest for the Kelly Cup tonight in round 1 of the playoffs. The Icemen host rival the Florida Everblades. The Icemen finished second in the ECHL South, with the Everblades finishing in third. Puck drop tonight at 7 o'clock. It's 80 degrees at 11 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
How would you feel about, 36 and 40 from Washington for 17? You good with that?
I think so.
It's probably pretty fair.
Yeah. I think so.
I think I probably would. It's better than the proposed trade that Dane Brugler threw out there, and we'll get to that coming up with the Jags dropping to 28 and what they get back in that. I prefer getting back the 40th pick for the, what would it be, an extra 8 spots.
Yeah. I would love to see the Jags figure out whatever the deal would need to be to get into the top 10 and get one of these wide receivers, because I do feel that is so much less of a gamble than whatever they're going to do at 17 or whatever they would do at 36 and 40. I do feel like it's just less of a gamble on the player that they'd be trading up to go get at wide receiver at that point in the draft. I'm not saying that the compensation on the other side of that from Washington, it's about right, for making that kind of a deal. But
because it's not only 36 and 40, though, Tony. It's 36, 40, and 48.
Yeah.
Because in a trade up, you don't have 48 anymore.
Right. I get it. But I do Look, we've all said whatever we've said about Trent Baalke throughout this process, and I would feel really good about him trading into the top 10 to get a player like that, right? And I would feel better about that than watching him pick at 17 and 48.
I hear you.
You know, I just would feel better about that being the situation if that's the way that it played out, even if I wouldn't expect it.
What if I told you were getting Quinion Mitchell and Ricky Pearsall at 17
I would
and 48?
love that.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Are there combinations I could give you at 17 and 48 that are plausible that would make you go, no, I'd rather take that, right? That'd be a pretty good combo.
Absolutely.
Right there.
Absolutely.
Or
but
Quinion Mitchell and whichever receiver you want to plug in that they think fits
and
the
I'm
best.
I'm not even trying to defend this as fair necessarily in my mind, but I can't shake Kayvon Chason from my head. Right? Like, I can't shake that he had other better options in the draft that year, and he chose Kayvon Chason.
Well, that was Caldwell.
Right. Like, it's just that this is an organization that does those kind of things. It all makes me so nervous. Baalke's lack of hitting basically anything in the draft outside of number 1, right? That's what he's done really well. So I love the idea of trading to the top 10. We love this guy. I'm cool with it.
What if that guy's Brock Bowers?
Then we'd all go, what's happening?
What just happened?
Yeah.
What if it's Dallas Turner?
It would be another, what is happening?
Yeah. I'm saying he would obviously, in that scenario, love those guys.
He would.
To make that move.
And we'd all try to react.
We'll probably do that anyway.
to what's going on with
All right, well, I'm going to save the Brugler mock for about 10 minutes because we got a few other things to get to, including a quick look around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
The Los Angeles Chargers are signing running back J.K. Dobbins to a 1-year deal. Bill Belichick, who won't be coaching anywhere this season for the first time since he was hired as a special assistant for the Baltimore Colts in 1975. At the age of 23, will be joining the Pat McAfee Show Draft Spectacular next Thursday night on YouTube and ESPN Plus, as announced by McAfee during his show on Wednesday. Former Detroit cornerback Cameron Sutton has entered a pre-trial diversion program to resolve the battery misdemeanor charge that he turned himself in on in Hillsborough County here in Florida on March 31st. He will be subject to a probationary period and is not allowed any contact with the victim in the case. Add New York Giants wide receiver Darius Slayton to the list of players that did not report this week for the start of the voluntary portion of the offseason. ESPN's Jordan Raanan reports that it is due to Slayton wanting a new contract. Good luck. The University of Albany announced on Wednesday that former Albany defensive lineman A.J. Simon passed away at the age of 25 on Wednesday. Simon was hopeful to be drafted next week in the NFL. No cause of death was known at the time of the school's announcement.
If the Giants were wavering as to whether or not to go to receiver at 6, they're like, really, Slayton, really?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to hold out of workouts? Okay. I mean, he may be the best they have at the moment, but it's not a distinguished wide receiver group that they have. All right, let me look at these two mocks with you, Tone. One at CBS Sports and one over at Pro Football Network as of this morning. The one at CBS Sports, I'll rip through the first 16 picks to set you up with what's available. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, go 1, 2, 3. Marvin Harrison, J.J. McCarthy in a trade up for the Vikings. Malik Neighbors, Joe Alt. This is very textbook until you get to 8. Michael Penix to the Atlanta Falcons. So that's a little interesting. That's 5 quarterbacks in the top 8 picks. Wouldn't hurt our feelings here.
Not at all.
But, and I can understand, too, even if the Falcons, if they liked Penix, why they wouldn't move off that. Because you don't know with the Raiders or the Broncos. Take him at 13, 12. Adunze to the Bears. J.C. Latham to the Jets. Brock Bowers to the Chargers. They had traded back with Minnesota. Dallas Turner slides to 12. Starting to see him slide in a few mocks. That's not a major slide. And I guess if you got Atlanta going a different direction, he's the place most people have penciled in going to Atlanta for Dallas Turner. Olu Fashanu, the offensive tackle out of Penn State, going 13th. Tali Fuanga, the offensive tackle out of Oregon State, right after. Then Terrion Arnold and Quinion Mitchell back-to-back. The latter when Philadelphia trades right in front of Jacksonville to take him for that specific reason. And at CBS, they have the Jags going Kool-Aid McKinstry and says the Jags could always move back here, but then they'd miss out on a corner. Well, are you saying that McKinstry is the only other corner you – because the next corner that they have in this mock is Cooper DeJean, and he's going 29th. and then Nate Wiggins is going 32nd.
Mm-hmm.
So theoretically, maybe you miss McKinstry. Are you saying that if you trade back to the Bills at 28 and those other guys are available, and you may feel that way, right? Like, I'm not in love with the idea of Nate Wiggins being the size he is. And it does mention here that more teams, I don't know how you know this, by the way, but more teams have DeJean rated as a safety / nickel than a cornerback / nickel. Don't know how the Jags feel about that, but, you know, that may be the case. Okay, so there's one where they take McKinstry at 17. The one at Pro Football Network was going along fine, and then it kind of got off the rails for me. Terry and Arnold to the Jags with the 17th pick. Although the Jags need to add a receiver, they also need help defending the pass. 26th in pass defense last year. They look to upgrade. Nobody is going to bat an eye. Now, you may not love Terry and Arnold, but at this point, if he's the pick and he's there, you're not going to go, oh, my gosh, I'm shocked, I would suppose. At 48, Xavier Leggett out of South Carolina. Is it Leggett or Leggett?
I'm not sure.
I'm going to go with Leggett. We got the pronunciation guide. I should crack that one open and look. But I think if he's there and he's the guy that you take now, a lot of people think he's a little bit straight line-ish, doesn't have enough route running refinement in his game, but you're also getting him at 48, not 17. So I think most people will be like, okay, played in the SEC, saw him mocked in some first rounds. We got an SEC corner. We got an SEC receiver. We're feeling okay about ourselves. What are we going to do at 96, Tony? What do you think we're doing at 96? We address receiver? We address corner? We're going to get an O-lineman? Maybe an edge?
D-tackle?
D-tackle, possibly, right? 96. Blake Corum, running back, Michigan. The hell? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's...
Come on, man. If this team drafts a running back in the first 3 rounds, I know they did it last year, which just makes it even more preposterous that they do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got done talking with Hayes. Of course you're going to pick up a $6 million option on Travis Etienne. He's your lead back for minimum the next 2 seasons, 24 and 25. You drafted Bigsby to be his complement. You talked about him already at the owners' meetings as needing to force his way into a larger share of the workload this year. You know, you got Dearness Johnson back. Your running back room's fine.
Right.
It's fine. You know, barring a couple of injuries, but that could happen to any room. Not drafting Blake Corum in the 3rd round, man. Did we sign Harbaugh to coach his team? Well, come on. Stop it. By the way, in the CBS mock, you could have McKinstry at 17. Tell me, would you rather have McKinstry or Jared Verse?
Verse.
He went 18. Would you have McKinstry or Byron Murphy?
Murphy.
He went 19. Would you have McKinstry or Brian Thomas Jr.?
Ooh. Thomas Jr.
He went 20.
Yeah.
Right? Trade back. You know, now I'm fine. If Quinion Mitchell, look, if you love McKinstry, you're going to take who you love. I get that.
Yeah. I think those 4 guys are all close in my mind, generally speaking.
How about Fautanu?
Ooh.
Consider him at least?
I'd consider him for
sure. He went 23rd. Marius Mims went 24. Tyler Guyton went 25. All these are offensive tackles, obviously. Trade back, Adonai Mitchell went 27. McConkey went 28. Mentioned DeJean and Nate Wiggins if you want to go the corner route. A lot of guys. Graham Barton, hell. You know, trade back, get enough. Draft Graham Barton. Let him battle it out for guard this year and be the eventual Mitch Morse replacement at center.
Yeah.
Again, don't hate building the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I'm seeing more and more, lists that are ranking those interior linemen that have him ahead of Jackson Powers Johnson.
I am too.
Yeah, it's more and more common now.
Last ranking I saw for Jackson Powers Johnson was something where around player 50.
Yeah.
That I looked at. It might have been Matt Miller's. He's got his big board out there. Over 400, by the way, if you're an ESPN Plus subscriber. It's a good read, if you want to peruse through it. I mean, it takes a little bit of effort to rank 400 prospects.
It does.
I think, and to do a semi-passable job at it. All right, definitely want to get into this Brugler mock. Big trade down scenario for the Jags. How attractive is this to you as a Jacksonville Jaguar fan? We'll lay it out, what compensation they get, what they do with that compensation, which may sway your opinion one way or the other. So we'll get into all that coming up on the other side. 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines or on the text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark. 1 week out from round one of the 2024 NFL Draft. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Second and goal from the 5-yard line.
Hear the voice of the Jaguars, Frank Franchi.
2 receivers right, 1 to the left. Crowd getting involved.
Afternoons on the Franchi Show.
Victory formation for Jacksonville.
On 1010XL.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Imagine driving a late model Corvette, BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, Honda, Chevy, Ford, and more, all at a fraction of the original sticker price. Visit Vaughn Motor Group's indoor showroom and browse a great selection of dream cars that are inspected with warranties. Before you make your next auto purchase, check out Vaughn Motor Group on San Jose Boulevard or at vaughnmotorgroup.com for a complete inventory listing. If you can dream it, you can drive it at Vaughn Motor Group.
Imagine the perfect outdoor living space. A beautiful stone kitchen, waterfall, fire pit, pergola, stone walkway. Now there's one place to bring all of your design ideas to life. The Art of Natural Stone on Beach Boulevard and also by Bartram Springs.
Mark Watson here to tell you a little bit about hardballcreative.com. It's your online promo haven with thousands of ideas on how to promote your company. We're open 24/7, 365.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Mia O'Brien.
Don't I know you from somewhere?
On Helmets and Heels, noon to 2.
I swear to you, I know her.
Then there's the 1010XL video and social media channels.
I would know her voice anywhere.
All Things Mia is driven by Arlington Toyota.
On 1010XL.
Open early and open late. Dailies is always there, making things easy for you to cruise in and cruise out. So hit Dailies Cold Case the next time you're craving a cold one. Bud Light by the case, plus plenty of singles to choose from. Corona, to the King of Beers, to Stella or a Natty. They're all cold at Dailies.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, presented by FIS, is home all weekend at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. It's Coors Light Thirsty Thursday tonight, and then Red Shirt Friday and fireworks tomorrow. The first 2,000 fans get a free frozen shrimp hockey jersey, with more fireworks presented by Ascension St. Vincent's. Then it's Baptist House Sunday Family Fun Day. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
This is Hayes Carline for SkyLife Elite. Are you tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, and layovers? Call my friends at SkyLife Elite. Consider using private charter flights for your next adventure. Yes, you can afford it. Make your own schedule. Fly direct. Drive your car to Craig Airport and get directly on the plane. SkyLife Elite can make that happen. Call 490-9332, go to flyskylife.com, and find them on social media. Fly SkyLife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision and equal opportunity employer.
With Spring Black Friday savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to $1,000 off select laundry appliances from top brands like LG, America's most reliable line of appliances. And with convenient shopping in-store and online, you can get new appliances with smart, intuitive features any way you want. Like a new LG Wash Combo all-in-one that can run a full load in under 2 hours. Right now, get $1,000 off select laundry appliances with Spring Black Friday savings in-store and online at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheap or discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Man, don't let your yard be torn up by that heavy aeration machine this spring. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to learn more about our granular aeration. Broadcast throughout the tree and shrubs to break up that compacted soil. Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Jaguars Today
on 1010XL.
Everybody's on the trade front right now, including us. Right? Today's question of the day, presented by Chad and Sandy Real Estate. We're just simply asking you, if the Jaguars move up in the first round, which player would you most support the move for? Is it one of the top two corners or the second or third receiver, if you presume Marvin Harrison Jr. is out of reach? Right? You can go Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, Terrion Arnold, Quinion Mitchell, and knowing that the receivers are going to cost more. Right? It's going to cost you likely at least your second-round pick to get into the top 10 in addition to 17. Malik Neighbors winning it right now, 44.5 to 40.8 for Odunze, so people want that alpha pass catcher for sure. Tony, I saw Bill Barnwell did an all-trades mock.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is more like along the lines of if you're on the if you're voting for Quinion Mitchell, where do you need to get to? Denver is a pretty intriguing spot right there, right? Because I think the Raiders could go corner. Certainly the Colts at 15 could go corner. If you can get to 12 and maybe Denver is looking at, hey, we can get Bo Nix at 17 if they are interested in Bo Nix. Or maybe they just punt on quarterback until the second round and hope that one is there. Whatever the case. In this scenario, the Jags move up, and I would think likely, if you're moving up to 12, you're not getting one of the top three receivers, but you give up 17, 96, and your third rounder next year. So you'd have nothing between 48 and 114 this year. You get 12 and 145 back, so a fifth round. You drop 96 down to 145, and you give up your third next year. How do you feel about that move? It's probably fair.
Yeah.
5 spots in the first round. You're giving up a compensatory third. You're getting a fifth back. And it does cost you what you hope is a late third rounder next year.
Makes some sense.
I don't want to get into trading a bunch of next year's picks, but sometimes that's what it takes to make that move.
No doubt. Especially
if you're going up in the top 10, you better be prepared for anything. But I just thought that was interesting. All right, so let's get to this Dane Brugler mock, Tone.
Yeah.
Had Buffalo coming up to 17 to get Brian Thomas, okay? Jags, as it played out, top two corners were off the board. All those receivers we're talking about. You could have drafted Brian Thomas. But in this, they wanted to get some corner help. So what they did in the trade, first let me ask you about the compensation. They moved back from 17 to 28. In the deal, all they give up is 17. They get 28 back. They get pick 133 in the fourth round. They get pick 144 in the fifth round. And they get Buffalo's second rounder next year. Is that enough compensation for you?
I think so.
It's probably fair.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if I love it because I don't know how much that's really going to impact you this year. But if you feel like if you get Kool-Aid McKinstry, I'd rather do that, get Kool-Aid McKinstry, than take the chance that they're going to take him at 17.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would depend greatly on how the board felt to them.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
Right. But if you do get McKinstry out of that deal, a guy that you might have to consider at 17 if you're going the corner route. Now, we know that they visited with him. We think they like him. And you can get a fourth and a fifth and a second next year, and you get that player.
Right, yeah.
Good with that. All right, so he continues. Troy Franklin, the wide receiver out of Oregon. I don't have the full mock. I copied the Jags stuff so we can talk about it. I know Ricky Pearsall came off the board shortly before this, for instance. So you get wide receiver out of Oregon, Troy Franklin at 48. You get Mekhi Wingo, the LSU defensive tackle, at 96. Get Isaiah Adams, who's a guard out of Illinois, with 114. You take Gabriel Murphy, the UCLA edge rusher, at 116. So you've addressed corner, receiver, D-tackle, O-line, edge. I mean, he's nailing it, right, in terms of the needs. And you may say, what about offensive tackle? Well, let's finish.
Mm-hmm.
With 133, the pick you picked up, they took Jalen Simpson, a safety out of Auburn. I've seen him mocked to the Jags a few times. Right? And I don't see the great need for safety, but, okay, this is kind of like one of the free picks. With your next pseudo-free pick at 144, they take Renardo Green, corner out of Florida State. So now you're doubling down on the corner position. Like that, right? It doesn't have to be Green. I like the idea of even if you take one early, you get another one in the mid-rounds. Right?
Sure.
We need some depth. Isaac Garendo, he's a fun player. Now, we're getting into the range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This would be the Jags' 8th pick. It is a running back, but it is the 5th round now.
Okay.
It's 153, and he's got blazing speed. Could we use him? Could we find a package and use him like Devin Achane in Miami? You know, could we be that creative with him? I don't know. I don't love the idea of drafting any running back, but if you're going to take one, now we're getting late enough that maybe it's okay to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Glover, know nothing about him other than I think he's like 6'8". He's an offensive tackle out of Georgia State. Okay. And then if you're going to draft a kicker, 236 is the place to get him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cameron Little, 6'6", 323 for Travis Glover. So that's a big boy developmental project.
Yeah, no doubt.
I feel I don't know about all the I feel that Brugler does a great job, obviously, right? That he really paid attention to what this team needs, and I think that's pretty viable overall. You know, corner early, you get a guard who probably doesn't start for you right away, but you're also not taking him super, super early. You're getting a corner and a wide receiver that you think can impact you right away. You get a rotational defensive tackle at 96, and then you hope those offensive linemen one day at least push to be regulars in your top 8 rotation. You know, if you get a swing tackle in round 6, if that's what that guy develops into, you're fine with that, right?
Yeah. I personally don't love Troy Franklin.
Okay.
That's me. But I can understand wide receiver being where you're looking for the Jags there in the second round. I just don't necessarily love the player. But
Too skinny for you? He's a skinny guy.
It does. It feels to me like he's got one trick. It's a really good trick. He's fast.
Stretch field. Do we need that? I mean, we could always use that, right?
Yeah.
Like if Brian Thomas comes here, we love your speed, we love your touchdown ability, we love the deep ball possibility, but we do have Gabe Davis. And that is what Gabe Davis is best at.
Yeah.
Is the deep ball, getting behind defenses. You know, maybe he's not as complete a receiver. Would they be better off with, I'm not saying Ladd McConkey because, you know, I like Christian Kirk's ability to play out of the slot, but are we better off with a route running technician if that's the choice as opposed to, I'm not saying, obviously you want the complete guy. You want the Dunze and Neighbors who could do it all. But if you can't get that, would they be better with that?
That's why they're getting drafted where they're getting drafted. So,
right.
You know, I think you look at the group of wide receivers that are around that kind of area, maybe an Xavier Worthy is a guy that gets talked about in that same kind of range. Javon Baker, who we've talked about before, out of Central Florida.
I think Worthy goes before 48.
I do too. But Javon Baker, Troy Franklin, Keon Coleman, I would guess is going to be in that range. If you're asking me if I'd
Coleman
rather have
and Baker are like completely different than Franklin.
Right, and I'd rather have Keon.
Okay.
Right, like
and for all I know, he was off the board.
Right, if that was my choice was between those two guys, I would prefer Keon Coleman pretty easily for me personally over Troy Franklin, but I don't know exactly how it played out.
Yeah, I think he did a pretty good job overall.
I thought he hit needs.
Yeah, he hit
sure.
the needs. And the players, look, you don't even know who's going to be available. That's what I'm looking for when these guys get. Like, with the first pick, I want you to really think about what might be available, who might be available, and what would best behoove the team selecting at that spot. You get beyond that, hit needs. And, you know, and with what is out there for you, and that would be just fine. So, anyway, I thought that was a fun one, and I thought he did a pretty good job with it overall, you know, knocking down the key spots for the Jags. Certainly better than Blake Corum in the 3rd round.
Yeah, no thank you.
You know, give me any running back in the 5th over Blake Corum, Trey Benson, any of these guys. It's a waste, you know, for this team, for what they have. You agree on the ETN 5th-year option, right?
Oh, 100%.
Pick it up, run the wheels off.
Yeah. I have zero expectation that he'll be here for another contract, but yeah, 5th-year options.
I'd be very surprised if he was.
Yeah.
You know, with the cost of running backs in free agency, and you got so many other things to do. But then again, that TV money's pretty sweet. Salary cap does not go down very often. So we'll see how they play it out for this year. We know Travis Etienne's going to lead that backfield. Mike on Twitter, at MWFSU, you guys in the media have me so confused. One says trade up for a receiver. Another thinks we need a left tackle. Someone else says take the best available. How about we compromise and take a punter? Let's not do that. But that's the beauty of it, right? I mean, that's kind of what it is. Mike and everybody else out there listening, maybe right. Rome Odunze or bust. Or Malik Neighbors or bust. Or, damn it, we got to go defense. Man, we got to get the line of scrimmage. All these are reasonable approaches, right? The or bust part is not so reasonable to me because I do think there are ways, like, you greatly would prefer Odunze. Okay, that doesn't mean you can't have a good draft without a trade up for Rome Odunze, for instance. I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying someone in that position. So, all right, one more segment to go, a week out from the NFL draft. Let's take a look at today's question of the day. Where do we land on this? If the Jags are going to trade up for one of these 4 guys, who would you most support the move up for? Neighbors or Odunze going into the top 10 to get a receiver, or Arnold or Mitchell? Coming up, just a few picks to get a cornerback. Those are your options in today's poll. You can vote accordingly. AdamD_1010XL. It's Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for Awaken 180 weight loss. Lost the weight in September. Why am I still talking about it? Because I haven't found it yet, and that is a wonderful thing. I have a pretty good knack for finding the weight that I've lost and putting it right back on. But Awaken 180 promises they are different, and over 21,000 satisfied customers agree with me. They have over a 98% satisfaction rating from all their customers over the many years that they've been doing this. I know some hosts in this country that have gotten on board with Awaken 180, lost their weight, and have kept it off literally for years, and they're still talking about the program. I'm raving about it because I've never had this much success. If you want to lose the weight, get great coaching every step of the way to do that, but then have that continue on beyond to help you maintain that weight loss. Awaken 180 could be the answer for you. You could be the next Awaken 180 success story. Join me, Matt Hayes, and yes, Hacker, who's crushing it. Call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 for Awaken 180 weight loss, online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios. Jacksonville's home for Florida Gators baseball.
The weekend series starts tonight for the Gators in Nashville, Florida Vandy. Thursday and Friday night and Saturday afternoon on 1010 a.m.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Life isn't the same without live music. Players Grill Mandarin has Samuel Sanders performing covers and original music this Saturday at 8 p.m. Jam out with this local singer-songwriter while enjoying tasty food everyone can enjoy. Players Grill Mandarin, where the neighborhood meets.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
The 2024 draft is almost here.
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
Join us at Everbank Stadium Thursday, April 25th for the official Do-Off Draft Party presented by Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Be there as the Jaguars make the 17th overall pick, and don't miss the unveiling of the official 30th season logo that you voted on. We're getting the party started at 7 p.m. Tickets are free, so register today at jaguars.com/draft party. We can't wait to see you there.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select.
Nobody gets in the war room, but 1010XL will get you close.
That's good. That's very good.
1010XL's draft coverage is brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
ET here, and it's time for the Taste of Golf at TPC Sawgrass, April 24th. Join me for fine cuisine from chefs from the top golf clubs in our area, craft cocktails, games, and unique auction items. This is one of the most charitable events in our area. Come network with a sophisticated audience who is passionate about golf and its values, all impacting the youth in our community. All proceeds benefit First Tee North Florida. For tickets, go to tasteofgolf.com. Come on, somebody.
If you are having problems related to selling your home, here's your solution.
You just have not discovered ChadandSandy.com. That's ChadandSandy.com. Listen, maybe the problem is you need more space for your office or growing family, or perhaps you're worried about settling for less money with a lowball instant offer. We've got one guarantee here that always rings true. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. It's as simple as that. So you need to call 904-414-6200 or go to ChadandSandy.com like Jonathan in Mount Pleasant did. The only thing standing between me and my dream of traveling in my RV was the sale of my Mount Pleasant home. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Crazy results. In just 3 days, I received multiple offers for full asking price. So you don't have the problems you think you do. You have solutions and promises with Chad and Sandy. Go to ChadandSandy.com or call 904-414-6200 at ChadandSandy.com.
If you're a business owner and want to learn about federal, state, or local government contracts, plan to attend a free online webinar April 23rd. The Florida Apex Accelerator, in partnership with UNF, provides expert guidance and consultations at no cost. The Apex Accelerator program can make selling to the government less complicated. To attend the free coffee and contracting webinar April 23rd, register at unf.edu/SBDC. Then select Training and Event tab.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Spring is blooming, and the last thing I need is an AC or plumbing issue. But I'm not stressing because I know Fenwick Home Services has me covered 24/7. I'll have their certified technicians inspect my system, ensuring it runs efficiently and smoothly. They'll remove that nasty buildup of dust, pollen, and dander so I can breathe easier too. Preventative care is where it's at. Don't hope you won't have a problem. Plan to make sure you don't. Avoid costly breakdowns by booking now at FenwickHomeservices.com/radio.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, obviously the warmer temperatures are already here, and if you're like me, you want that oppressive Florida heat to stay outside your house. That's why I'm such a fan of Pella Windows and Doors. By now we know that windows are the #1 way that heat gets in and the cold gets out. So when you're ready for the stylish design and energy efficiency that comes from Pella Windows and Doors, visit their showroom on Phillips Highway, just north of Bay Meadows, or you can always find them online at PellaJacks.com. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
This NFL Draft Preview is brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeast Florida. Be a Big.
Alabama cornerback Terrion Arnold seems like a realistic choice at the 17th slot for Jacksonville. The former first-team AP All-American started all 14 games for the Crimson Tide last year. He brings an aggressive approach to defense as a sticky man coverage corner with quick speed and great ball awareness. If he's available at 17, Terrion Arnold could be making the drive to Duval.
Pross, I'm thinking about changing my name.
Again? You're already the media mogul, the straw that stirs the drink, the Duke of Pablo Bay. Now what?
Refer to me as Dreamfinders Danny Hicken.
What in the blazes? Is this a cash grab?
No, it's just that I believe so much in Dreamfinders Homes. 20 locations in Northeast Florida, official home builder of Jags and Gators. Great opportunity for first-time homeowners.
All right, Dreamfinders Danny it is.
Did I mention the lowest interest rates you can find? Visit DreamfindersHomes.com. Now let Dreamfinders Danny celebrate through the majesty of song. Dreamfinders, I believe they will build your home just right.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, we had a caller earlier, Tony, asked, how frequently do three receivers even go in the top 10 of the NFL draft? Are we all over-projecting where they may go? Well, went back to the 2021 draft, Trevor Lawrence draft year, and you had three in the top 10 that year. Was the most recent example. Jamar Chase went 5th, Jalen Waddle went 6th, and at 10 you had Devontae Smith. Then if you jump ahead just 1 year, you had 4 in the top 12. But only 2 of them technically in the top 10, as you had, what do we have in this one? Drake London went 8 to Atlanta, then Garrett Wilson at 10, Chris Olave and Jamison Williams followed at 11 and 12. So it's not definitely unprecedented, and it's becoming more prevalent to see those guys higher, especially when you've got a crop like we allegedly have this year, according to the scouts. Before we get to today's question of the day, I did find this interesting. Matt Miller over at ESPN did a top 10 scouts mock. He had 10 scouts that he knows, and he assigned them each a team in the top 10. I don't know if you had the same guy do Chicago's picks or what. But no trades allowed. They don't scout for a team in the same division. So they're not trying to, throw smoke out there or whatever. Or they're just trying to give what we believe are honest evaluations of how they would approach the top 10 if they were on the clock. And there were some interesting results. Draft surprises us, right?
Yeah.
We think we know. And they're like, why is this guy sliding? Well, the NFL's like, he's not sliding. We never thought he was a top 10 pick.
It's just your opinion, man.
Right. Yeah. He's sliding in from your mock draft, maybe. Yeah. No surprise that Caleb Williams goes 1. Drake May, the North Carolina quarterback, goes number 2. And the scout, their unnamed scout, says, May has more upside. I question Daniel's ability to play in condensed spaces and on and on. So he prefers May. Next guy goes, are you kidding me? Guys left me without a choice. This is who we wanted. Other than Caleb, we're taking Jaden Daniels anyway. And raved about Jaden Daniels. So I think there is a split on that, to be sure. He said, we're sprinting to the podium with this pick. True playmaker can beat you with his arm and his legs. So those 3 guys are likely to go 1, 2, 3 and some more. Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals. Okay, easy. Nothing's crazy yet.
Yep.
Joe Alt to the Chargers. Now, they may trade out and take a different offensive tackle, but if they stay there, maybe they do take Joe Alt. Malik Neighbors to the Giants. Still not anything crazy. How about this? How would this make you feel, Jaguar fans? The Tennessee Titans select Rome Odunze, wide receiver, Washington. Explaining the pick, the scout said, I wanted a tackle, but with Alt off the board, it's too rich to reach for Fashanu. Thinks it's not worth the 7th pick. Drafting a right tackle doesn't help, so this is a little best player available, but also a need. Now, they just spent $23 million a year on Calvin Ridley. They do have DeAndre Hopkins, and they're not the youngest
for
pair.
Another year.
Yeah, right. They're not the youngest pair, but, you don't want to see that, right? Like, you've conditioned yourself to think that if we don't get him, well, he's going to Chicago or somewhere else. All right, so
If Alt's off the board, I do think that's very much in play.
Well, if that's the case, let's hope the Chargers do trade out for a team coming up for a quarterback, right? More quarterbacks go, more Dunze or any of these other guys hang around. At 8, the Atlanta Falcons select Quinion Mitchell, cornerback, Toledo.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
And now the scout says Mitchell's the best corner in the class, and honestly, it's a harder position to fill than pass rush. I also think about this. Young defensive ends rarely make a huge impact early on. It's rare to get 10 sacks from a rookie. A rookie corner can come in and be an all-pro. We've seen that recently with Sauce Gardner. And so he's saying, hey, I could go this way and come back with a guy like Braylon Trice out of Washington in round 2 and get my edge rush that way. And we get the more elite player at corner. That's interesting. You don't see him go in the top 10 very often. So the Bears now, Odunze is not available to them. They select Byron Murphy, defensive tackle out of Texas. D tackles in the top 10 shouldn't be a surprise, right? No. Valuator said Murphy's a legitimate game changer who's just scratching the surface of the talent. We can't believe he's still available at 9. And this is an NFL scout talking. Now, again, maybe he's embellishing a little bit to have a little fun with the mock. But here's a guy saying, no way this guy should even be available at this point, right? And we constantly see him available to the Jags in mocks at 17.
Yeah.
And then finally at 10, who do you think the Jets take in that scenario?
Bowers.
Talifwanga. Bowers makes a ton of sense to me. The 2 most common scenarios talked about the Jets are drafting a tackle of the future and taking an instant impact offensive player such as Brock Bowers. Our 10th and final scout in this exercise decided to plan for life after 2024, even after the Jets traded for Morgan Moses and signed Tyron Smith, because both players are 33 years old. The 2 offensive tackles added this year can't be seen as more than Band-Aids. There has to be insurance in case they get injured again, on and on and on. So, no J.J. McCarthy. And again, no trade-ups allowed.
Yeah.
And let's just hope that the J.J. McCarthy buzz is strong. All we need, barring a trade up by the Jags, all we need is somebody. Denver, Raiders, Minnesota, somebody likes him enough to put the brakes on of a free fall if he gets outside there of the top 10, man. Quinion Mitchell. I could see it, right? I mean, I could see both of those things happening. defensive tackle, and then all of a sudden you got a glut of edge rushers, right, sitting staring you in the face. You start to wonder, what do you do there?
Yeah.
Man. All right, so Tony Smith. If the Jaguars move up in the first round of the draft, which player would you most support a move for? Out of the 4 we listed, we put the conditions. It's going to cost you. We know what it's going to cost, or roughly what it's going to cost to get in the top 10. You want one of the 2 wideouts not named Harrison, or do you want one of the top 2 corners? Who would you support the move for, factoring in the price?
One of the wide receivers.
Okay. Do you have a preference?
Not especially.
I kind of like Odunze, and maybe that's more because I've been conditioned to expect him to be more available, so I paid more attention to how he would fit.
There have been the whispers here in the last couple days that the Jags' preference may be Neighbors.
Yeah, I saw Ship talking about how they like Neighbors.
Which is fine. I don't think either one of them are a bad guy to make the move to go get if they get put in the position where they can actually make that kind of move. But I've grown to like Odunze more and more through the process. Like, he did feel like he was there at the beginning of the process and then slipped for whatever reason. That's when we were seeing him available to the Jags at 17 from time to time. Not so much now. You know, you don't see that kind of thing happening now in mock drafts and everything that's been going on with the discussion around these 3 guys at the top of the draft. But I think I'd probably lean towards Odunze, but it's a real light lean.
You know, Tony Pauline, who we're hoping to have on Monday as part of our draft week coverage, put out a report quoting anonymous sources earlier this month, just about 10 days ago, 2 weeks, whatever, that while teams love Neighbors' skill, he's viewed as being high maintenance.
Yeah.
And it was suggested that he'll struggle in a big city. Well, come on down.
Yeah.
All right. He had an arrest for carrying an illegal weapon, but the charge was dropped, right? And there is, I guess, an anonymous coach or scout or somebody. Maybe it was, here it is, Charles Robinson, actually, reporting that up until this point in the process, I never heard any problems with Malik Neighbors. Never heard of this idea of the big city stuff. I think you have a player who's going to be very, very highly drafted. He's very close to Marvin Harrison Jr. in terms of the split, in terms of how close they are.
Yeah.
And went on to say that the feeling is that story, while I'm sure it's sourced, the source is probably planting hey, Giants, maybe you don't want to take this guy at 6 kind of thing. Maybe he'll be available for somebody else, you know? And that kind of stuff happens, I think, man.
For sure.
It's terrible. Imagine if you're the guy out there spreading the rumors that Malik Neighbors is high maintenance, and then you turn around and you're turning in the card with Malik Neighbors' name on it. Well, you know, they won't know you're the source of the rumor, but you're going to be hit immediately. Oh, we don't believe any of that. We don't think we did our due diligence.
They don't know that you said it.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But imagine knowing that you said it.
That feels like a real coup, right? Like if you're the guy who pulled it off.
I don't know who said that, but that's crazy. We love Malik.
Like if you were willing to lie to get the whole thing started, you can lie again at the end of it.
Malik
I think pretty easily.
Is awful. He doesn't shower frequently.
Right.
He just, no.
Yeah.
You know, then you get up there.
That's not one of those where you're carrying that guilt. Like that's just
that
guy is just celebrating.
Right. Although Malik Neighbors better not find out that it was you.
Right.
Because you cost him some money.
You know, maybe you needle Malik a little bit. It's like, what was all this about? You know, what happened? You know, maybe you needle the guy just a little bit.
I'm probably on the Quinion Mitchell thing here just because I'm looking at, and I don't know what the cost. Let's say it's a 4th and a 7th.
Okay.
To move up to 14. You know, lock in my number one guy who may be the number one guy at the position and is a guy that, you know, one scout mock notwithstanding, generally top corner does go in the top 10.
They do.
Right? And I think this is a particularly unique year with all the quarterbacks that we're anticipating.
So much offense.
So much offense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, right? Like you might get, like the Jags may be staring at like the first, second, third defensive player, like all of them.
Yeah.
At every position available for them. You know, maybe Dallas Turner, maybe one of the corners is gone. Maybe you're looking at the third guy. Maybe that is the next corner.
Certainly
maybe it is
possible,
Byron Murphy. You know, or maybe we're wrong and we see a wave. Pocket 2 you trading up for? Or who do you support the trade up for most? Arnold, Mitchell, Neighbors, or Dunze?
Mitchell's number one for me. If you think he's going to go like just a couple of picks before you and you want Mitchell, you go get Mitchell. I think that's pretty simple for me.
I just don't want to see. Now, again, if they make the move for a Dunze or Neighbors, I hope it works out, and I'm not going to kill them for doing it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Let's see how it plays out. But, boy, I really don't want to not have a pick. Imagine if you didn't have a pick between 9 and 96. That's a lot of talent coming off the board right there. But you got to pay for, what you want. Right now, Jaguar fans, about 86% of them want that bold move for a wide receiver, Tony. And Neighbors is the preference by a slight amount. I don't think anybody would be too upset if they wait. This is hunchy, right? I don't guess the Jags are jumping up, if they're going to jump up at all, any higher than they have to, right? Like, are the Giants going to fall? Like, what would be the highest they could get to? 5, maybe? Because the Chargers are seen as being willing to move out?
Yeah.
I don't know why the Chargers wouldn't want one of those guys after moving on from Keenan Allen and Mike Williams.
Yeah, why not? I do think, in the reaction from the fans on the poll this morning only supports this. I think Jaguars fans next Thursday night are going to be so locked in until the third wide receiver name is called, right?
Then it's going to be, damn it, what's Bulky doing?
It's going to be
he can't get it done. Well,
right?
What if he's not trying to get it done?
Right.
Or what if he made a really good offer that you'd all say, well, that's a really good offer, and they turn it down because they love a Dunze.
They'd rather have the player, right? Like, they're allowed to feel that way on the other side of that phone call, but next Thursday night, until that third wide receiver name is called, people are going to be – is it going to be now?
And I do think that, we had the call earlier, and it's true. I mean, Chicago doesn't have a lot of picks. Makes sense. But at the same time, we want to get our alpha young guy to grow with Trevor Lawrence. You don't think they want that for Caleb Williams?
Every team wants it.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Again, you're not alone. Like, wanting that kind of thing, the Jaguars are not alone. And wanting to get that kind of thing for whatever quarterback they're playing with. You don't think the Jets want that?
I will say, if those 3 come off the board and Mitchell and Arnold are gone, if all 4 of these guys in the poll are gone, I really am hoping it's a trade back at that point. Now, look, they may take Kool-Aid in the kitchen. They may take Nick Wiggins, who I don't want because I think he's too light, and he may turn out to be fantastic, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And I will root for that to be the outcome. But I'm not going to, I didn't want Nate Wiggins. Can't possibly be a good pick. Well, over 400 votes right now. You're all on the wide receiver side of things, and Mitchell preferred over Terry and Arnold at the moment. Man, I want to peek at the Jags big board. I do.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Fun to know, like, one of these years. I'd love to do that, although I might not want to see it until after the draft. You know what I mean? I don't know if I could put myself in a position where I know what they want to do and not say what they're wanting to do. You know what I mean? That would be tough. But, all right, that'll do it for us today. Thanks for those who voted, over 400 of you, and we'll see if you get your wish a week from today. Tom McManus will be in with us tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll reflect on what Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke have to say. The Jaguars pre-draft media luncheon is coming up where, they don't really – I mean, at this point, I feel like I've heard enough from Baalke and Peterson that I'm not going to learn a whole lot new, but that's why we listen and we find out.
They'll be talking, yeah.
No matter what they have to say, we'll bring it to you here on 1010XL, your home for Jaguar football. So stick around. Helmets and Heels coming up. XL Primetime, the Frangie Show, and then Rick and Hack into the night, taking you deep with Jaguar coverage and everything else, but certainly a week out from the draft. That's where the focus is for us and most others on this station. That'll do it for us today. Thanks to Hayes Carline for stopping by. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Appreciate you being a part of the program today, whether you're listening, calling in, texting, or hitting us up on Twitter, or whatever the case may be. Tommy Mack in tomorrow, and then it's draft week upon us for the Jags and the rest of the NFL. Everybody have a great day. Stick around for Helmets and Heels coming up for the next couple hours here on 1010XL and 92.5.